Okay, in this video, I wanted to slow down a little bit and um, talk some more about choosing a text for when we want to. After you've decided on a topic, this is going to hopefully be helpful when it comes to choosing a text. Um, let's see. So I thought we'd just start with doing a basic Google search. And let's use the immigration example. So here's what happens if we just type in immigration. Looks like hmm, wonder if I can move my head out of the way. Um, let's see. I'll worry about that later. If you just type in immigration, now keep in mind, let's imagine you selected this as a topic, and this is all you did is you punched in one search term like this. It's not that you're not going to get results. Of course, you're going to get tons of results. You're going to get things like, government websites, um, more government websites, lawyers. So a lot of these, let's just choose one, for example. These aren't necessarily, it's not that you can't react or respond or react to these. You certainly could. Um, but these types of websites, I'm thinking ahead of myself. That's why I'm giggling a little bit. So these are plenty rhetorical. There's a lot of rhetoric going on here. These sites, though, are probably more intentionally intended to be, uh, as Uncle Sam appears on the screen, informational than rhetorical. And it's ironic because this is a hugely rhetorical symbol. Um, Maybe this is not a good example. Let's go check out a couple more. You'll see the difference of what I'm talking about in a minute, hopefully. Um, Once again, there's plenty going on rhetorically here. There is color, there's arrangement. We can talk about the people in the shown in this on this web page. Uh, Not to, I mean, we haven't even talked about the language yet. But again, keep in mind what we're looking at here. Let's look at one of these lawyer. There's a law center. Um, this is actually a very rhetorical picture. Um, Again, as much as this is rhetorical, and we could have a response or a reaction to these things, especially here, probably some of these headlines. Um, you'll see what I mean, hopefully, in a minute as we look at some other sources. So this was immigration, and even here, the Google search gives us returns um, some news sources, some articles. Um, We could click on these, but I want to show you in terms of searching. So keep that in mind as you do your searches. If you do one on Google like this, it's going to return some results, but it's going to also throw in some relevant news articles, it looks like. So what if we did something like, how about pro-immigration articles? And just look at what that brief or relatively minor, seemingly, change it does. Um, I'm just trying to get a feel for what different types of publications we're looking at here. So we had a lot of .govs, we had some lawyers. Um, Still looks like we have some official looking .orgs, Cato Institute. These are all um, um, pretty good sources. Not necessarily, again, what we're looking for. These are like, again, a lot of informational type stuff. whistleblowers. Cato, these are think tanks. I mean, this could very certainly be something to respond to and react to. Um, you'd probably have to go through here and search around a bit, not really looking for white papers, not really looking for think tank stuff. This seems interesting. Stories are very good sources for rhetoric and rhetorical analysis. Stories, voices. Um, Here's one of the things I'm talking about. There's definitely a lot to say when you go on a website like this or like any of the other ones we've looked at so far. But this is the thing, we're not just reporting. We're not trying to report what's going on here. We're not even trying to describe or even explain what's going on here. We want to react to it and respond to it. Now, if what you're seeing so far, either in this website or in any of the other ones we were looking at, if it is initializing or catalyzing something in you to where you have a response and a reaction, then I'm encouraged it. Go for it. This is just typically not the types of sources that would lend themselves to this type of assignment, this reaction paper that we're doing. Um, what if I did anti-immigration um, op-ed? So I hope you can see already. Um, just look at the language that gets returned on a search like this. Immigration will destroy us, which already begs some questions. What do we mean by destroy? And who are we talking about when we say us? Oh, and there's some other talking points too. Um, what does this little bit say? Learn more on how we're humanizing the immigrant narrative one story at a time. Define American fights, anti-immigrant hate to the power. I got to see what this says now. This is the headline didn't seem to match the subtitle. Is the culmination of 3 years. Okay, so this looks like a website that is perhaps taking on anti-immigrant stances and arguments and rhetoric. Interesting. Lots of great information. Doesn't look like the type of thing that we can respond to readily. Immigration has a public image crisis. As a permanent in Venezuela experienced this with seeking asylum. Okay, this is an op-ed. Maybe this will be something that I've got in mind. All right. Now, whether this matches our search terms or not is sort of beside the point at a moment. What I'd like to point out and to get across to you, this is awfully brief. This is an awfully brief little article, little op-ed, but it's along the lines of what I'm talking about. What I would like you to do is find something like this that has some substance to it, that has some paragraphs that you can dig into, that you could spend some time thinking about and contemplating the ideas, the rhetoric, so that you can have something to respond to, so that you can have something to say. Let me see if I can pick out a an example really quick. Pardon me for a moment. I'm going to actually pause this. Okay, let's just take a look here at this sentence in the second paragraph. When President Trump retook office, he crushed the hopes and dreams of queer people worldwide seeking safe haven in the US. Now, let's imagine for a moment that you are of the point of view that your position is you are a Trump supporter and you don't offer much support ideologically, practically, um, for queer people or immigrants or any of that. This could be a sentence that you would want to respond to, that you could react to, that you could take issue with. Um, I can't give enough disclaimers about this. I'm not encouraging that or suggesting it or anything. We're using this merely as an example to point out the kind of ideas, the kind of rhetoric that you could respond to, that you could react to. This looks and feels a lot different than coming across some of the more informational websites that we were just looking at. This is what I was trying to tell you. Let me try to find another one we can talk about for a moment. Well, let's look no further than here, this third paragraph. Um, this is quite an emotionally stirring paragraph if you happen to be sympathetic to the plight of individuals, uh, like like this person who's writing this. If you happen to be sympathetic to what's going on in this paragraph, I won't read it. You could pause it and read it if you want to. Um, in other words, you're sympathetic to this, you wouldn't have much to say in terms of a reaction to it, to what's written here. You might have a reaction and a response to the dynamics and the forces that are creating this environment for this person. But what I'm trying to get you to do is find a text so that you can react to the text, not the ideas adjacent to it. So here, this would be an appropriate candidate of an article if you happened to not be sympathetic. Gosh, sorry for I don't. It's hard for me to imagine, but for whatever reason, if you are, you would want to react to this and respond to it because this is not resonating with you, that you want to take issue with this. This is a very clear um, appeal to emotions of the reader. And if it falls flat on you and you want to take issue with this, that would be the kind of thing I'm talking about. This would be something to use for your reaction paper. You would want to take your experience, your values, your opinions, and you would want to take this on, probably line by line. Um, anyway, let's see if we can find a different example. How Trump's immigration policy, University of Michigan op-ed. Let's see what this looks like. This one has a little bit more meat, it seems. Let's just take a quick scan of this. All right. I'm just quickly scanning it. I'm not seeing anything come to mind. This looks like probably a pro-immigration op-ed, but I'm not quite sure. Instead of just staring at this quietly, I'm going to pause again for a moment. I got here down at the bottom. I thought this was a compact but very punchy line, bracing for impact. Um, again, if you happen to be sympathetic toward immigrants and the immigration whole situation, this is something that's probably resonant with you. You're going to be tempted to find an article or an op-ed like this, and you're going to write about how terrible the immigration system is for families and for people and et cetera. That's not responding and reacting to this paper or this article. you're responding to an adjacent or the underlying or the overarching topic. And that's not what this paper is. You've got to find a text that you can look at things like this and say, no, I disagree with this. I take issue with this. I'm, for whatever reason you have. Let's take a look at something else from maybe a different point of view so you can get a better idea of maybe what I'm talking, or a different idea of what I'm talking about. And we'll go, how about, hmm, how about AI? How about artificial intelligence? Starting off with just the terms, here we get the little very conveniently we get the little blurb here from the AI. Um, looks like someone's doing a video on it. So all you ever want is to know about AI here. Then we get, again, this looks like it might be something, the impact of AI on society. Maybe get a wiki entry. Um, I mean, this is probably almost certainly going to be informational here. It's from a good source, IBM, that's recognizable, that's legit, but this is something that's meant to be informational like this. Again, it is rhetorical. It's not necessarily something that we're going to want to respond and react to. So a lot of these search results are feeling like an introduction to the topic, which may be fine, but what we are looking for is something more like artificial intelligence should be. And see, this is the thing. When you do a search and you get results, and your results are like, well, they're kind of general, they're kind of broad, go back a little bit and just try to narrow it down more. Try to think more along the lines of what you have in mind as a topic, and then maybe a more specific slice of that topic. So if your stance or your position is, you happen to think AI is totally terrific and we should be moving forward at light speed and dumping all of our money into it, and um, if you're that point of view, maybe look for articles that talk about banning AI because you would have something to say, you would have something to respond to. Should be banned globally. Nope. Looks like the AI is defending itself here. Wait, was it? I want to see if it does. Mm, no, a little bit. A little last ditch defense of itself. Okay. Um, what are the, yeah, see here? I think I said it in my other video. You add ethical into things, and it really starts to, it brings to light certain considerations that would probably make good candidates for you to respond and react to. As interesting as sites like Reddit can be, let's not use Reddit for this assignment, for this reaction paper. Um, yes, I'll just leave it at that. Should it be banned? Why it must be stopped? Now this looks, so there's a little bit of a difference in here. Should it be regulated? This is probably just based on the title and just based on the little blurb here. Um, this is somebody that's going to sort of give you the landscape of things. Some people on this side think one thing, people over here think another, and maybe they'll come to some sort of lukewarm conclusion at the end. I don't know. That's probably not fair for me to say I haven't read it, but that's a lot of times what articles, what things like this look like and feel like. This one seems a little bit more definitive, so I want to investigate this. Why artificial intelligence must be stopped now. So it's giving you a claim and it's going to hopefully tell us why. So here we got some introductory material. Let's not spend a lot of time on that. Um, Look at this. Now we have one more chance. I don't know really what that's about, but that sounds ominous. That doesn't sound too too promising. So there's definitely a rhetorical angle going on in this article. AI dangers are cascading. Look at this language. Cascading. Imagine you're a person who's for AI. You love AI. You think it, again, should be going forward, full steam ahead. And you see somebody talking about there's a problem with AI and it's cascading. What do we think of when we encounter the word cascading? This is a quite a visual, a visually stimulating word. Um, if you happen to be a person who was for AI and this person wants to ban it and they're using rhetoric like this would definitely be a moment that you could say, wait a minute, why are you sounding the alarm like that with this kind of language? Oh, now check this out. This cascade of dangers. Again, let's look at this from the point of view of we love AI, we just want all the AI in the world. This person saying, no, no, it's all bad, and they're cascading. Look what they do here. These all these little paragraphs. This one's about financial. Um, this is about hallucinations. This is has to do with like defense and weapons, um, jobs. So what this person's doing is they're claiming, I mean, they're putting their money where their mouth is. They're claiming rhetorically that the dangers of AI are cascading down and essentially are going to bury us or drown us or something. And then they're doing it. They're writing it in a way that feels like it's cascading, paragraph after paragraph, point after point. That's really interesting. Even taking a moment to offer a sort of rebuttal here, it looks like, nope. A lot of people are saying pause AI development until we know what's going on better. But this author of this article is saying, nope, no pause, just stop it. So, um, this is why, let me just scroll a little bit more. This is why articles like this, op-eds, they're much more given to engagement that will produce a reaction or a response. You're not going to want to sit here like we talked about with the last article and potentially agree with something and find yourself with nothing to respond to. If you happen to be in a particular point of view, you would have plenty of respond to in this article. And there's more, I'm sure. I'm just not gonna tear it apart right now. Let's see if we could find one more. Maybe we'll mess with the search terms a little bit more. Um, Artificial intelligence should be banned globally. Let's do that op-ed thing again. See if that works. The one danger that should unite the US and China. Wow. Is this what I think it is? China and America don't know it yet, but AI is going to drive them closer to. Okay, so this person is saying that AI is so bad. Oh, crud. Continue. We're gonna boo paywalls. What I think that was saying is it's going to be so bad that it's going to turn enemies into maybe not allies, but um, will unite them in some way. So that's an interesting take. The only way to deal with the threat from AI, shut it down. So here's a second taker on the article that we looked at previously. I want to, sometimes these Time articles are pretty short. This one, if you can get through all the ads, it looks like there is some substance to this one, so that's good. A lot of times, let me see if it works here. You can do a print command and it might do away with the ads. Nope, look at that. It's got all the ads on it. Oh, it's even covering the text. That is horrible. That used to be a workaround. Is there a cancel button here? Yes, behind my noggin. Anyway, this video is already getting too long. I just wanted to show you a little bit some different ways of potentially choosing texts, some things to look for. If you're not getting the kinds of texts that you can readily and effectively respond to their ideas, respond to the rhetoric, you should keep looking. I think a lot of students, what they do is they just do their first search term, going back to something like this. They scroll down barely till the search results start and they just pick one. And they say, I'm just going to go with this one and figure out something to respond to here. They might cherry pick a line or two, or again, they might just see that this article is about artificial intelligence and they'll just write 5 pages of explanation and opinion about it. That's not what our reaction paper is supposed to do. It's part of it, but I want you to guide and direct your response, your reaction to the actual text in question, not just about it, not just oblique to it or adjacent to it. Pick out moments. Maybe we'll do a video on that too. Pick out moments from your text. Slow down, build a whole paragraph. If this, for example, was going to be the line that you wanted to take out, pull out, quote it in your paper, and then write a paragraph responding to it directly to this. And in fact, you can even, I don't know who the author is here. Some of these don't have authors. Article by professor. So you would respond directly to the author and say, Author, I think you're wrong. I think you're misguided. Here's why. Here's what I think. Even if it's something technical like AI, a lot of times these are written by experts. So what? Offer your opinion. React to it. Own it. It's fine. All right. I'll see if I can cook up another video about what that would look like walking through a text. Okay.